All right, guys. Welcome to Press X Podcast, episode 69. Appreciate you guys being here with me, waiting patiently as always. Things have been very slow. Very slow. Unfortunately. Yeah, episode 69. Huge milestone, for sure. But, nice shave. Yeah. My mustache is gone for now. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to shave it. It, was trying to trim it, and things went south real fast. So, you can let me know how you guys like the no mustache look. I had it for so long, it feels so weird without it. but but yeah, uh, yeah. So guys, do me a favor. For those of you who are here right now, um, hit the like button. Hit the like button. It helps the stream out. Makes me feel good. And if you are it makes me look thinner. Okay. Babyface MBG. Yeah, trust me, it's an adjustment for me as well. I'm not used to not having a stash. But it'll be back in no time. But yeah, hit the like button. It does help the podcast out. It helps the stream out. What does my shirt say? Yeah, so it's see if I can say you know, Metal Gear cardboard box, big box. Um, it really has been slow. Oh yeah, dude, things have come to a crawl, unfortunately. Which we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. I'm sure you guys have noticed. Alert noise, blue box. Dude, I guarantee we will talk about blue box during this stream at some point. Uh, there's no way we'll get until we find out exactly what's going on with the blue box situation. There's just no way I can't talk about it. I don't know if you guys watch Sacred Symbols or not, or if you're a patron of Sacred Symbols, but they put out an episode dedicated to the blue box situation, and they brought me up, which was funny. They messed my name up multiple times, kept calling me MGB, which was funny, but I appreciated their content because it's good to know I'm not the only one. It's good to know I'm not the only one, but I don't think there will be a time where we don't talk about the situation um, until we know what it is and what's going on. But yeah, so I do want to also apologize in advance to everybody here right now. If I seem a little bit, I want to use the word down because I'm not feeling down, but I'm exhausted. Like I'm physically exhausted. I got back on a new gym routine. Finally, it's been a long time, and I'm getting very serious about getting back into shape, getting back into that routine. And this was week one, and anybody who has attempted to do this in the past, week one is always the hardest, and it really kind of kicks your ass. So I'm I'm definitely a little bit exhausted, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay because I'm going to be honest. I got to be real with you guys. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we have some insanely incredible, exciting news and info to talk about. And I know people are going to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't say that, but I am going to say that because I'm just being honest. Okay, things are slow right now. Things are very slow. MBG on the keto diet. No, definitely not. Tried that one time and did not work for me. Did not work for me. But yeah, let's go over some of the topics we will be talking about today, and I want to give a shout out to my members as well. So let's do that. Where is losing track of everything? Okay, so first I want to do my member shout out. As most of you know by now, Shaky Shako, you're saying you got the blue badge. Glad to see that, buddy. Yeah, so if you want to help support the content I do here and support the channel directly, obviously donating super chats during streams helps a lot. Watching my content obviously helps. You can become a channel member by hitting the join button, And there are 3 different tiers, and one of the perks that my higher tier members get is a exclusive shout out at the beginning of all my podcasts. So we have the Play Has No Limits Plus tier. So big shout out to Junior Jackson, Samuel Payne, Josh Z, Chlorine Schaefer. I hope I'm saying their name correctly. Agile Ice 24, KB, Anthony Ramos, Skin Tight Salmon, and PlayStation Pete. Thank you guys so much for being a member and also subscribing to that highest tier. It really helps a lot. We had the Play Has No Limits category, so shout out to Brandon Chad Perez, Adrian Pollard, Sayin JT, Big Norman 0518, Tyson Webb 509, Shaky Shako, Sir Speaks a Lot, Jeffrey Hicks, Rune Gasoden, Whiskey Gaming, Ryan Butcher, Chris B, Ashorty Faye, Quantum Stardust, JDTV, Alpha Azer, Lionson and Pride Lord Escanor, AJ Saeed, Morgan Anstein, iSiler 18, Space Gambler Jr., Kendall Fire 22, and Black Manta 1989. Again, big thank you from me to all of my members. Really appreciate the continued support that you show me here on the channel. It really does help. I mean that. It does. It does help, and it goes a much longer way than you might think. So some of the topics that we're going to be discussing today, I want to talk about the PS5. I don't want to just focus on the fact that it has apparently sold 10 million units faster than any console ever, but I also want to focus on the fact that this entire year, seemingly, it's just been like bad headline after bad headline after bad headline for PlayStation, and yet it just doesn't matter. PlayStation is still kind of dominating. That's not to say that the competition isn't also doing well, because they are, but it's just like if the competition is doing well, PlayStation is just doing significantly better than that, right? And so I want to have a conversation about that, talk about, where we see the PlayStation 5 going in the next 2 to 3 years, if it's going to slow down, if it's going to speed up. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about the news that came out this week or this past week about Haven Studio and how apparently their game is set to be a game as a service, which some people are acting surprised about, which I guess is understandable if you haven't been paying attention to it. But to me, this isn't surprising at all. But I also want to have a more general conversation about the direction that Sony's choosing to go in by focusing more so than ever before, seemingly, on multiplayer games. I want to talk about that. We're going to be talking about PlayStation Home and how it seems highly, highly likely Sony is doing something with PlayStation Home. I don't know what, but we can definitely have a conversation about that. We're actually going to talk about EA for a little bit during this podcast because they actually had some exciting reveals, surprisingly, right? They actually had some exciting reveals for EA Play, some stuff I'm definitely pumped about. And then at the end of the podcast, or maybe before the end of the podcast, it really depends. I don't know if I'm going to go in this order specifically, but we will talk a little bit more about Blue Box and that whole situation. I did recently talk to Hassan again. It wasn't a lengthy conversation, but I just asked some basic questions just to get an update on what's going on with the application and if things are on track or not. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So let's dive right into the first topic. And the first topic is about the PS5 continuing to set records. It seemingly can't stop setting records. I don't know how much negative press PlayStation is going to have to receive in order to slow down these console sales. Now, for those of you who are not aware, we did talk about this in a video, but I'll just remind you, it was reported on by VG Charts, and I know people always come at me, they're like, dude, VG Charts is not an accurate source. They're not a reliable source. We do have to understand that VG Charts, they are estimations, but the last sales data we heard was that the PS5 sold about 9 million units, and that was back in June. I think it was early June. So the idea that they surpassed 10 million units by now, obviously they did. Okay, they passed the 10 million mark. That much is obvious. We don't need Sony to come out here and officially clarify that, but they probably will at some point. Maybe during their next investors call or reporting, they'll probably let us know how well the PS5 is doing. And it's worth noting that the PS5 has achieved this faster than any other console. Faster than any other console. And I know that people get upset because they're like, well, I still can't get my hands on one. I still can't buy one. And I get that. That definitely does suck. Not saying that doesn't suck. That definitely sucks. But, we have a situation here where I don't know how this happens. Like, I really don't know how this happens. I don't know how we enter a generation where we have the PS5 and we have a supply shortage that we've just never really seen before, right? We've never seen a supply shortage linger this long to this extent. And yet the PS5, it's somehow still breaking records. It really does make you wonder, where would the PS5 be right now if if they didn't have this, if they didn't have the struggle of, hey, like, we can't produce enough units. And this is good for me. This should be great news, honestly, for anybody who cares about console gaming. I mean, I've been talking about this for years now, where, console gaming, every generation, it's going to end. It's over. It's coming to an end. It's reaching the end of its life cycle. And it's like, no, it seems to be doing just fine. It seems to be actually growing. We have a super chat from MeTool saying, I would not miss PXP episode 69. You only get one of these. Thank you for the quality content you create on a daily basis. Well, thank you so much for that, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. And I guess this episode of the podcast is a special episode. You're right. I only do get one of these until I start a new series with episodes. This is the only one I'm going to get, so we better enjoy it. Thank you for that, buddy. iSiler18, you're saying the narrative has changed for a while now. We have to feel bad for the underdog instead of expecting better. Even Nintendo gets destroyed with the press, but look at those sales. Yeah, dude. That's a conversation we definitely have to have, and that's kind of why I wanted to highlight the console sales here is, well, not just to, by the way, thank you for the super chat, iSiler. Not just to be excited, like, hey, look, the PS5 is doing incredible. People are like, oh, why do you care about console sales? Dude, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm not holding back this podcast. It's episode 69. We're going all in here. How many people do you see constantly, literally constantly, where it's like, sales don't matter? Who talks about console sales anymore? Only losers care about console sales. People who care too much about their plastic boxes. You see that shit all the time. And yet, the second we hear that, oh, Xbox has outsold the PS5 in the US one time, literally one time, probably because Sony had to spread their units out a little bit more thin across, globally, because they're more of a global brand. And that's all you see them talking about. It's like, what the keep the same energy, right? Like, people tell me all the time, like, MBG, you got to keep the same energy. It's like, I'm trying, man. I've been trying. People hold my feet to the fire all the time, and I'm going to do the same thing. All right, don't tell me when your console isn't selling well that, well, sales don't matter. And then when it is selling well, then tell me it matters. It's dumb, dude. I'm going to be honest with you. Console sales absolutely matter. Why are we talking about sales? My God, because they matter, dude. These people who tell you, well, sales don't matter. Look, if you are just somebody who wants to play video games and that's all you care about, then you're right. They don't matter. I'm not saying they have to matter to you, but they do matter in the context of, like, if you care about the industry, if you care about the console space, if that's your favorite way to play video games, you have to at least pay a little bit of attention, because we see what happens to consoles that fail. We see what happens to consoles that don't sell well and can't garner a big enough install base. I mean, worst case scenario, they basically just they fail to the point where the console manufacturer just gives up on them. That's a very extreme circumstance. But we also see a situation where it just doesn't get the type of support that it could be getting if it was selling better. That's just the reality of it. So people who act like, oh, I don't care about sales. Look, I mean, you don't have to care, but what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is, if you are a fan of the Xbox, if you are a fan of the PlayStation, if you are a fan of the Nintendo Switch, there's absolutely nothing wrong with celebrating healthy sales. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you're going to use it as ammunition, where it's like, well, your console sucks because it didn't sell this much. Yeah, that's a little weird. It's not necessary. It's unnecessary. Like, the Xbox One, even though it kind of sold really poorly at first, it really wasn't that bad of a console. It really wasn't. I was there day one with it. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was the Kinect really that made it bad in the eyes of a lot of people. I think most people could agree with that. But it's like, if your console's doing well and it's selling well, there's nothing wrong with caring about it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with like for me, for example, I bought a PS5. The fact that this thing is setting records during a time like this, it just goes to show, like, holy crap, dude, the support for the PS5 is going to be incredible. It already is incredible, but it's just going to continue to grow. And the better a console sells, the bigger of an install base it garners, the more attractive it looks to developers. Developers might be more inclined to prioritize that specific console when it comes to development. They might be more inclined to possibly even make their game exclusive to that platform. Okay, these are all things that do matter. Primal Plasma saying the denial is real at MVG. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. It's, Draco, you're saying you're stuck in the past, just like your take on physical media. Well, look, I don't think it's necessarily being stuck in the past. I understand that console sales do matter to the companies. Like, Microsoft does care how many consoles they sell. But Sony obviously cares about how many consoles they sell. Does Sony care more than Microsoft does? Of course they do. Microsoft is more about engagement and numbers across the ecosystem, and they can afford to be that way because they've made it so that their ecosystem is spread across multiple devices. Sony, not so much. We all know this. Sony, they're still more in the realm of kind of just the console, and you can interact with the ecosystem a little bit on your phone, a little bit on PC, just a little bit. But if you want like the full interaction with the PlayStation ecosystem, you need to do it through a PlayStation console. That's why console sales still matter so much to Sony. But another reason they matter so much to Sony is because everything I just told you about why having high sales numbers can benefit your platform, Sony already knows this. Sony knows how to make a console successful and sell over 100 million units. And it will be interesting to see if the PS5 can actually go past the 130, 140, maybe even the 150 million mark, depending on, how this all pans out. But that's where Sony makes their money. It's all about stickiness. Okay. When it comes to Microsoft, Sony, even Nintendo, but especially Microsoft and Sony, they want to know how sticky. I don't know why I'm using this terminology, but hey, it's episode 69. We'll just go with it. They care about how sticky players are, right? Like, they want players to stick to their ecosystem. They want people to not just buy the console, to not just buy their games, to not just subscribe to their services. They want people to stay there, to stick to the ecosystem. That's what they want. Microsoft and Sony don't hide this at all. So yeah, it's not just about console sales. It is about overall engagement with the platform and the ecosystem. But the important thing to understand is that, and I've always tried to explain this, and I think it is worth explaining over and over again because it's true. The thing about a console sale is that it inherently makes a player, a gamer, a person who's buying this console more invested automatically in that ecosystem because they're paying a premium price, right? So, like, if you're going to pay, like, no one's buying a PS5 or an Xbox Series X saying to themselves, oh, I'll probably just use it a couple times and that's it. And then I'll forget about it. No one's doing that. Anybody who's buying them, they're doing so with the intent where I want to buy a bunch of games for it. And who knows, maybe I'll subscribe to some services. I'll do this, I'll do that. Maybe buy some microtransactions, some DLC. This is where the stickiness comes in. This is why consoles still are important. Microsoft isn't prioritizing them, but you better believe that the people, more than likely, the people who are the most engaged in the Xbox ecosystem are likely those who bought the console. Now, I don't know if we have data to prove that, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. And so, there's a bunch of reasons why console sales do matter and they are important. It's just I think the reason why people don't really want to talk about it too much is they're afraid to get ridiculed like, "Oh, you care about console sales." And that's because there's a bunch of people who use it as ammunition, which I understand to an extent, it's going to happen, but it's like it's better to understand the positives behind why a console's selling well is is something worth paying attention to. There's positive reasons, there's good things about it. It doesn't have to be this like, well, my console that I bought and that I enjoy sold more than yours, so yours is garbage, my friend. It doesn't have to be like that. All right, but Xbox is garbage. Let's just establish that here. Xbox is absolutely garbage, and do not buy an Xbox. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course. Xbox is fine. Things are going to be a little bit different during this podcast, in case you can't tell. Things are going to be a little bit different because we have very little to talk about. So I'm just going to try to have some fun. Yes, you're right. I'm using the word stickiness, and you're telling me you're saying MBG, the word you're looking for is customer retention. Correct. You are correct about that. Hit piece incoming. Dude, I'm going to tell you this because this was funny to me. I woke up today, like I usually do. I wake up and I check my phone after a little while. See, I don't know how you guys do this, but when I wake up, I try to avoid my phone for a good 2 hours. I've learned that over the years of owning a smartphone and especially being on Twitter, and now I have a YouTube channel and whatnot. It is so unhealthy to just wake up and jump and just dive headfirst into the internet, into Twitter, into news, what's going on, all that stuff. It really is a bad thing in my experience because it's just not good. It's just not good. I gotta have my coffee. Maybe I'll game a little bit. Just chill. Just take everything in. Relax. And then give myself some time. And then I go on Twitter. And dude, some of the stuff that I'm presented with as soon as I go on, like there's this individual on Twitter. I don't know if you know. They blocked me. I also blocked them because they're like toxic as hell, dude. Like absolutely garbage, like a cesspool. Say his name. I'm pretty sure it's a woman. I'm not sure. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, it's a troll or whatever. I don't know. But Andrea, I know their last name starts with a P. I don't know. But like this person, and the only reason I know about this person is because they keep like trying to slander me on their timeline. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people, dude? Like it blows my mind that people do this. People like they wake up every day and they actively look for this stuff and they're like, I'm just going to spend my time doing this. And I'm just like, oh my God, you got to find something better to do, man. But the only reason I know about it is because I'm just doing my own thing on my Twitter and I'm like tweeting something about, I don't know, like today on Resident Evil. I'll just be tweeting my own stuff. And like people show me this stuff in my replies and I'm like, what the fuck? It honestly, you're saying MVG, you are a hater too, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's why I don't get that upset about it. Because it's like, yeah, I've been pretty volatile in the past. I'm not going to deny that. I went in hard on Xbox, man. I'm calmed down now, but I'll still shoot from the hip at times when I have to, but it's just crazy to me that like I just don't want to be involved in it anymore, like at all, because it's just at first it's kind of funny. But then it just it turns into some kind of just, I don't know, nasty stuff that people do. But yeah, that's just the way it is. You could be a literal saint, but there will be somebody who, they won't like you and they will want to see you burn. potentially. But yeah, dude, I want to talk about something else now. All right, this is kind of a different humans is whack. Yeah, this is kind of a we're deviating somewhat, but I want to talk about this because to me this almost feels like it's the theme of the podcast today, and it's an unfortunate one. I can't lie to you guys, it's an unfortunate one. And PS3 Gaming Scotland, you're asking me if there's going to be an event. Um, Look, I don't know if there's going to be a PlayStation event. I don't know. I honestly don't. I wish I did know, but that feeds perfectly into what I want to talk about because guys, I realize that there's going to be people who are like, "Oh, ponies suffering and whatnot," and they say some stupid shit like that for some reason. But we need to talk about how quiet Sony is right now because it went from, kind of like a drip feed of info and news to absolute silence. And you're saying nobody's ever satisfied. Yeah, I mean, look, I want it to be known that the way I feel and the sentiment I'm about to share is not something that everybody should be feeling. I only say that because I feel like, me, obviously, you look at what I do here on my channel, obviously, I'm paying attention every day to what's Sony doing, what's PlayStation doing. And so, yes, my expectation is I hope they do something every day. That doesn't mean that they have to do something every day. Second Coming, you're saying they haven't been quiet. Okay, I mean, if you could give me some examples, that'd be cool. Alex Mercer, you're saying I was planning to wait to get a possible PS5 Pro or Slim, but that Dead Space remake teaser completely made me want to get the console now. I mean, if you can get a PS5, I'd definitely go for it. You're gonna have a lot of games to play. They've had state of plays. Well, that's true. That's true. MBG, you got some real weirdos in your chat. Yeah, they haven't been totally quiet. I just mean, I'm talking honestly mainly about like the past couple weeks. The past couple weeks in particular. I'm not talking about like the entire year or anything like that. Lamin, you're saying PS Guller's PR told me Horizon is coming February 2022. I don't know who that is. PS Gullers. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, man. I wouldn't be. That would be. I'm not gonna lie. I would be disappointed. I would be. I would tell him take as much time as you need. Honestly, like get the game right. You can't rush the game. But it would be disappointing, man. It would be disappointing if we don't get Horizon this year. Black Waifus, you're saying happy 69, mad respect for doing the podcast even on a slow day. You don't have a panel, bro. That is different. Yeah, it's not easy. It's what I chose, but it's not easy on times like this. It is quiet. It is very quiet. In fact, that's like the topic of the day right now. But thank you for that, man. Samson, you're saying a game dev got offended, has a meltdown, went on a rant on Twitter about Rivet having breasts, LMAO, male feminists, simps, white knights. What the fuck? Like, is that real? You have to be messing with me, Samson. See, I don't even pay. That's the thing is like, I just can't. I cannot pay attention that closely to just shit that doesn't matter, dude. Like, somebody's going to come out here and complain because Rivet has breasts? Like, you fucking kidding me? I'm not having it today. I'm not, dude. I have been working out every day. Been hitting the gym hard every day. My test levels are higher now. I don't have time for the bullshit like that. Somebody having a meltdown over something so stupid is going to cause me to have a meltdown, man. I can't, like, people need to just go and stop. Show gains. Give me a couple weeks. Give me a couple weeks. Rant juice. Yeah, go buy a rant juice mug, guys. I'm not even getting into that, dude. I'm not even getting into that. But look, you know, I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into the getting offended by yeah, the Activision lawsuit. Holy shit, dude. What is going on over there? Like, I said it, I know it won't happen. I was like, dude, I think Sony should cut ties with Activision. This is some bad stuff that's going on over there. And, you know, a lot of people were like, well, dude, if that's the case, then Sony should, like, sever ties with everybody because there's always bad shit going on everywhere. And it's like, yeah, that's true. There should be improvement across the board. But my God, like, I read some of the stories coming out, and I'm like, like, they gotta go. They gotta go. They gotta go. Yeah, Insomniac was under fire. Did I see the Insomniac news? So people were showing me this, and unless I read it wrong, this was like over a year ago with the Insomniac stuff, wasn't it? Was it that bad, MBG? It was. Yeah, there was some bad stuff, dude. Yeah, like yeah, it's... I know Insomniac was under fire because a developer came out and said that, like, it just wasn't good there either. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that they, to some extent, addressed it since then, and they, I think, changed some things. Yeah, that Insomniac news, I'm pretty sure, is older, and I'm pretty sure that they've addressed it since then. But yeah, dude, the whole thing going on with Activision, you know, people were like, oh, well, you can't, you know, it's the Blizzard side of things. I'm like, yeah, still, you know, like, somebody needs to do something about that. Like, stop being just utter garbage. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that fucking hard. It really shouldn't be. Like, I don't understand why there are people who, like, they just think, oh, you know, I'm cool because I got this job and I make a lot of money and I can just be a complete piece of shit now. Like, no, you can't. Yeah, apparently, like, on the Blizzard side of Activision, it's like frat mentality. It's like, oh man, dude, it's so cringe. It's so cringe. Just let it die. Like, Blizzard should just die at this point, shouldn't they? Anybody who I think was, like, responsible for anything great that came out of Blizzard, I could be speaking out of ignorance here, but I'm pretty sure they all left, right? But yeah, it's toxic as hell, man. But that's, you know, that's just the way a lot of the culture is in these big corporations. You know, it's not the same. It's not, you know, the same across the board everywhere, but you're always going to find your problems. But in the case of what's going on with Activision, it's like, that's when it's like, okay, I think they may be the worst. Like, they have to be the worst of the bunch because it's bad. Ubisoft is bad too. I don't know. But anyway, getting a little bit off course here. Let's talk about PlayStation, and as I was going to talk about, oh, really quick. Did you guys see, talking about Ubisoft, what was that game that they announced, X Defiant or whatever? Is that the game? Right? Like, it's this game as a service arena shooter that just, it looks just like everything else, man. Oh my God. It's like, please just stop. I can't, like, if Sony makes any games like that, and people were like, well, look at Destruction All Stars, and I'm like, dude, yeah, Destruction All Stars also falls in that category. I tried to give it a chance, and there was a little bit of fun to be had, but it's like, we can do better than this. we can do better than this. We have to do better than this. I don't want to see. I know Sony's diving into multiplayer and they're diving into games as a service, dude. I don't want to see them make any garbage like that. That is just horrendous. It's got to go. That kind of stuff's got to go. Like, I know that there are people who are like, well, it could be good. It's like, come on, like, you could make a Splinter Cell game. You could do anything. It's like, what is Ubisoft doing with Rainbow Six Extraction, right? Like, what is going on there? Like, why are you making this? Nobody wants this. Nobody's excited for it. People are basically saying this just looks like a ripoff. This just looks like it should be an expansion or some DLC, and they're going to try to sell it as a full game, full price. And I'm like, why don't you just greenlight Rainbow Six Vegas 3 or Rainbow Six Patriots, which was canceled before? That's the kind of stuff that would get people excited. All right? I'm giving them some free ideas right now, but it's whatever. Saying Sony needs games, it's not looking good right now. Well, Sony does have games coming. They delayed it again. Yeah, I know they did. Sony has games coming. I think the real problem Sony has right now is, I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, the problem Sony has right now is with their communication. I say this because as of right now, dude, this could change next week. Okay? But as of right now, the only real communication they've had recently was that small state of play, which, people were not happy about. Like, let's just face it. Like, people weren't asking for that. They were asking for an event. PlayStation fans were asking for an event. And I know that they're like, look, I've been on the side for a while now where it's like, well, Sony can do what they want when they want. Of course they can, dude. Like, I'm not saying they can't. Sony has a right they can run their business however they want. And I'm not even saying I know what's best, because I don't. It's not my job. I don't get paid to run Sony or figure out how to keep their product relevant and their brand relevant. That's not my job. But what I will say is that I want a damn event. I do. I want one. And you know why? It's not, in my opinion, because, what about all the games Sony's given us so far? I've talked about it ad nauseum, guys. Sony's been kicking ass when it comes to delivering the games. They've been on point. And I don't want to see it stop now. And they do have some games coming. They have Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Deathloop, for better or for worse. And I think is that game Stray, I think, supposed to come out. There's some others. But, so Microsoft comes out here beating their chest, right? Microsoft comes out here beating their chest, and they're like, brain cells on fire. Sony dropped games all year. Shut up. Well, guys, you heard brain cells on fire. I got to shut up. I'm just going to have to cut this chunk of the podcast out. I'm going to have to stop saying what I'm saying. I got to shut up. I mean, I literally just said that Sony's been on point with delivering their games. Like, dude, I can't deal with the idea of people coming to me and being like, well, you can't say anything negative. Like, I'm going to say what I want. All right? It shouldn't make you mad. You should actually like that. You should like the fact that I'm not just going to say what I think people want to hear. Oh, you weren't talking to me? I don't know. Brain cells, I'm sorry, buddy. I can't tell. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else. I can't tell, man. There's not enough context here. I'm assuming you're saying you weren't talking to me. But in all seriousness, like, I think Sony... he wasn't talking to me. My bad. Brain cells on fire. My bad. I'm a little bit on edge, as you can tell. So I'm not trying to, throw any shade anybody's way who doesn't deserve it. But honestly, I feel that Sony has to. Come on, like, there's been rumors that they're going to do something in the beginning of August, and I'm looking at just how quiet things are right now. Come on. They got to have something ready around the corner. Between the rumors of early August and the blue box thing, the application, I'm like, something's going down. I don't know what, but something's going down. So I'm not worried about Sony's silence right now. It's not good for me. Like, for me, this sucks. Like, dude, like, this is what my channels run on, right? And Sony's just went dark, man. Sony went dark. Blue Box has been pretty quiet. And Sony Studios have been quiet. And I'm living off of scraps right now on my channel. Still got plenty of games to play on my PS5. And, you know, I'm grateful for that. MBG, you should go with a goatee beard instead. Maybe. For anybody who may have missed it earlier, I'll say it once more because my lack of mustache seems to be shocking some. I didn't mean to shave my mustache. I wanted my mustache to remain, but it couldn't. It couldn't. But it'll come back. But anyway, enough about my mustache, because I can't seem to stop talking about it. You should start live streaming games when Sony is dark. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. It's okay. Like, the truth is, I have a really great audience here. I think you guys are great because even during a time like this, when there's like pretty much nothing happening, you guys still show up and support what I do here, most of it. And, you know, it really does that. Like, that's the important thing to me. And that's why it motivates me to continue to find stuff to talk about and do my best to deliver whatever news I can. But come on, Sony has to do something soon. There's just no way we go into August and it's just silent like this. There's no way. It's not possible. I say it's not possible because Sony does have games coming. Like, we need to know more about Horizon. And I'm really hoping that the next time we hear about Horizon, it's not basically Sony just being like, yeah, it's delayed. If they do that, maybe they can cushion the blow a little bit by showing some more gameplay. You know, when are we going to see God of War? When are we going to see the Metal Gear remake? It's real. We all know it's real. Sony, you can't hide it much longer. You can't hide it much longer. We know this. You're going to have to show it soon. It's going to happen. And so this lead, also, like, how long can Sony continue to hide this when they literally bought Blue Point, right? Like, come on, they let the cat out of the bag. Everything just went dark, and it's almost like they want people to forget that they accidentally revealed that, yeah, we bought Blue Point. Like, when they're gonna have to reveal it sometime, right? Black Manta, you're saying Sony should delay Horizon 2 for one reason. The lineup for 2022 would be insane. God of War, Horizon, Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, and GT7. Now that's a lineup. I do agree. That would be an incredible lineup. That's like the silver lining. I mean, if Horizon does get delayed, it makes 2021 seem a lot weaker, at least the second half of 2021, but it really does inflate 2022 for sure. And that's the thing, though, is that, like, Sony right now, what I fear is that Sony's silence, and this is why I don't believe they're going to remain silent. If they continue to be as quiet as they have been, it's going to eventually start to work against them. They're getting away with it right now, and I think they can, because it's like, as I said earlier, the PS5 is still selling like crazy. People are still playing PS5 games. And Sony has a pretty good back catalog right now of PS5 games that if you're, just getting your hands on a PS5, you have a lot to look forward to. But as we go further, Microsoft, I gotta admit, man, Microsoft has been flexing this year. They have been, and I'm not as impressed as other people seem to be with the poses, that Phil and company are, laying on us right now. But what I can tell is that people are impressed, man. People have turned their they've changed their minds. A lot of people have changed their minds about Xbox and flexing with no games. Dude, they're doing it. They've been doing it. I mean, I think it's because people feel that the turnaround has finally happened. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that Microsoft has that is just, it's years away, and it's a while from now. And I talked last week about how they have Halo, they have Forza, and people are excited about that. They have Flight Simulator. But when I talk about Microsoft flexing, it's not so much about what we think of it, because we all have our own opinions. I have my own opinion, but it's the general sentiment that the public seems to have. And the general sentiment, from what I can gather, is that Xbox is doing good. Game Pass. The Xbox Series X is fine. They have the Series S. They got all these games that they showed and announced, They got Halo. And this is where it's like, this is why I think Sony's silence eventually will work against them, which is why I don't believe they're going to be silent. There's just no way. There's no way. I don't believe it. I don't believe that Sony's just going to ride the rest of this year and just be like, yup, Deathloop. Here's our new Deathloop state of play. Like, it's just, come on. There's just no way. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I feel like Sony wants to strike a pose of their own. Sony wants to come out and flex themselves. I mean, they've already been doing it, dude. Like, I love how, people just pretend like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart isn't a thing. Sony, on their official PlayStation account on Twitter the other day, I think it was yesterday actually, they asked people, they're like, hey, we're halfway through the year. What's your game of the year so far? And for me, it's Returnal, hands down. Ratchet and Clank is right there, but Returnal, hands down, dude. A game that I'm gonna be honest, man, Xbox just doesn't have a game. Nor Nintendo. They don't have a game like Returnal. Nobody has a game like Returnal. And it's my game of the year, dude. So far. Siler18, you're saying, with this slow period, it's time for Final Fantasy VII, huh? Actually, right now, I'm balancing playing, it's going to sound weird, like a weird combo, but Resident Evil Village and Outriders. Outriders is pretty good, dude. It's definitely generic. It's like generic the game, but it's pretty good the more I play it. But I just started Resident Evil 8, and I'm feeling mixed about it. Like, the game visually and with what it does with the PS5 is impressing me, but so far, into the story, I'm like, this is so different. But it's got me interested. It's got me hooked. So I'm gonna keep playing it. And I'm just afraid with Resident Evil 8. And I'm not trying to, I don't want to offend anybody who's a huge fan of Resident Evil. But guys, in the, maybe you can let me know in the chat, based off of what I played so far from Resident Evil 8, I think I'm an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in. I'm genuinely afraid that it's going to become so stupid I can't make it through. I know that sounds brutal, but just some of the stuff that has happened, it's just so what is happening? And maybe that's the fun of it, because the story is just I'm what is happening right now? But I feel like maybe that's the point of it, where it's not meant to be taken super seriously. It does have me intrigued, though, I will say. A lot of you guys are saying just keep playing. It'll all make sense. Okay. All right. I believe it. I'll finish it. Don't get me wrong. But it's so crazy, because after playing Returnal for as long as I did, going and playing Resident Evil, oh man, it's such an adjustment in terms of combat. In Resident Evil, I feel like I can't even hit anything at all. You know, I played Returnal for so long. I feel like some kind of combat expert. You know, take anything out like a pro. I get thrown in the Resident Evil, and I feel like a moron. Honestly, Chris B, you're saying Xbox sales and subscriptions are not really increasing. It's just Twitter influencers who are up on Xbox. Gamers are not. Well, that's the reality, dude. Is that like you look at the headlines, you look at what people are saying, and it's like Xbox is the best, and Sony just kind of sucks because they're just what's Sony doing, right? And then you look at like the data, and the data tells you like, dude, people are in love with PlayStation, man. People are in love with PlayStation, and Xbox is growing as well. I'm not saying that. Not saying they're not growing. They are, but it's just I'm my whole thing is that Sony right now is seemingly willingly allowing themselves to lose not the mind share battle, but the battle of the headlines, the battle of the communities, I guess you could say. Not like a console war type battle or anything like that, because that's really dumb, but I'm talking like it just seems like Sony is content with not feeling the need as of right now to react in a significant way to the stuff that Microsoft is doing. But at the same time, we have no clue what their plans actually are. You know what I mean? Headline wars are pointless. I do agree they are mainly pointless, but they do help me as a content creator out. One of the things I can't stand as a content creator, and I talk about this sometimes, but it's worth talking about at a time like this, is like I see something and I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's definitely not the most interesting. And you kind of have to figure out like, do you just want to let it stand on its own, or do you want to try to make it sound much better than it is? And sometimes I do that, but it's difficult because it's like you want to get people interested and excited, and you want them to know what's going on, but you don't want to oversell it. And it's every content creator falls into that trap from time to time. But my hope is that I'm not going to have to worry about that at all soon, because I think the idea is I want Sony to be able to just kind of, like, I don't want to have to ask, like, oh, well, what's Sony going to do next? Like, I don't want to have to ask that, because it's like, well, this is what Sony's doing. This is what they're doing. Right now, I feel like that's all we're really left with, is asking, well, what are they going to do next? Because the truth is, and I want you guys in the chat to let me know if you agree or disagree with me when I say this, but I think the truth right now is that I think what Sony has lined up currently, and I need to emphasize this very heavily, I am not counting Horizon Forbidden West when I say this. I am assuming when I say this that Horizon Forbidden West gets delayed into next year. So putting Horizon Forbidden West aside, I don't think what Sony has lined up for the remainder of the year is good enough. I don't. And that's because I do have a very high standard for Sony. My standard for Sony is very high. And the reason why it's like that is because they've been, like I said, they've been kicking ass, man. And I'm not that excited for Deathloop. It looks okay, but I'm not that excited for it. And I'm more excited for Kenna Bridge of Spirits. And I think Kenna is going to be amazing, but I just don't know that Kenna alone will be enough. Now, I could say, well, hey, there's Ghost of Tsushima, and that's awesome as well. And I'm super excited. I'm going to play that entire game over again. But I'm kind of talking about like just the new exciting stuff. Like it feels like, what it truly feels like is that it feels like Horizon has to launch in 2021. Because if Horizon doesn't make it this year, it's going to feel like not like it's I guess, PlayStation sucks or whatever. It's just going to feel like, well, okay, like we're just going to have to be okay with the lineup we do have, and it's going to end up feeling like we have to wait a little bit. And I'm not going to lie, being a PlayStation fan, being somebody who's been playing on PlayStation for a while now and covering PlayStation, that's not something I'm used to with Sony. I'm not used to waiting with Sony. They are very, very good, and I'm not trying to downplay the content that they do have, but the reality of the situation, guys, is not every single thing Sony does is going to be like a big W for me personally, because I have my own tastes, I have my own likes, and again, like Deathloop, I just can't see a reality in which Deathloop is the big holiday game for Sony. Like that, to me, that's absurd. I'm being honest. It's nothing against Arcane. It's nothing against the game, but there's just no way that's the big holiday title for Sony. And that's why I think like they're gonna, I don't know. I think, I don't want to say it will hurt Sony to have to delay Horizon, but it'll definitely deflate me a little bit, because it's going to be painful, not painful. I make things sound way more dramatic than they actually are, but it's going to be definitely a little bit disappointing to see Xbox fans. They're getting, Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, and they're going to be both like massive launches in a short period of time. And it's like, like we were supposed to be playing Horizon, but we're going to have to wait. It'll be okay. And there is a lot of multi-plat titles as well. And that's what Sony could do if they really wanted. Sony could just be like, well, we do have our partners and the multi-plat titles that we can rely on. Maybe that's what they'll have to do. iSiler18, again, buddy, you're saying Battlefield 2042 will be king for this year. I'm fine with Horizon being delayed. We got so many good games for a console launch. Greed can be dangerous. No, I agree. Again, it's hard because it's like once Sony sets those expectations for their fans in a good way, you know what I mean? And when they do that, it's like I always expect, them to kind of just meet that expectation every single time. Don't worry, we're gonna talk about PlayStation Home. We're gonna talk about that. Don't worry. But yeah, dude, Battlefield 2042. Holy crap, I'm excited for that. I feel like a lot of people were not really sold on Battlefield 2042 being a $70 like full price title and multiplayer only. But then when they revealed the Battlefield Portal, oh my God. I've been playing Battlefield since probably Battlefield 2. Definitely since Bad Company 1. And dude, what they're doing with Battlefield Portal looks incredible. I'm so excited for that, dude. That made my excitement for Battlefield 2042 jump really, really high. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. By the way, guys, is Battlefield is that launching in the Game Pass? I feel like people kept saying that Battlefield was going to launch in the Game Pass, and then like we just never. I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, dude, that's the weird stuff to me. Like that's the weird side effect of Game Pass that I just it rubs me the wrong way, where you see like the Xbox, the core Xbox fan base get all excited and they get worked up, and I don't blame them for being excited. I mean, the idea of a game like Battlefield launching in the Game Pass is a huge deal. Like that would be a huge deal and a big win. But like once like that rumor starts to spread, suddenly it becomes the expectation, and people who are on Xbox are like, they're not even thinking about buying the game because they have it in their minds that, well, it's coming to Game Pass, no big deal. And then it's like, some people get mad when it's like, it turns out that that's not true. You're going to have to pay for the game, and it's weird conditioning that's happening through Game Pass that it does worry me a little bit. It does worry me about like, I don't want to get to a point where it's like, publishers, not even publishers, but developers are now going to be demonized for wanting people to buy their games. To me, that's just disturbing. Yeah, Back 4 Blood is a big win for Game Pass, for sure. I mean, I'm playing it on PS5. I'm buying it. That's a game I want to own, but that's definitely a big win. But I just, I feel like I've been pushing against this a little bit because it's just something I've seen for a little while now where it's like, it's not everywhere, you know what I mean? But it's like on Twitter and on YouTube and comment sections and forums and threads where it's like, suddenly it's like, well, you're like, I don't want to say you're wrong, but people really do kind of make it seem like there's something wrong with you if you want to pay full price for your games and own them, and like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, there's not. There's nothing wrong if you want the best deal either, and you're excited for that. But, this is just this kind of angle that certain subsects of the Xbox fan base, like they've kind of started to roll this narrative out, or at least they've tried to, where it's like the thing that makes PlayStation bad compared to Xbox is that you have to pay money. And it's like, dude, can we acknowledge for a second that that's the way it's always been and that's never going to change, you know? And that, like, just because Microsoft is trying something new, where, as I always have to emphasize, their goal is to also extract money from you in the end, just because they're doing it in a different way, like, just pick what you want, you know? People like, well, you know, at the same time, like, PlayStation fans should be asking for a Game Pass competitor. And I'm like, dude, that's not for us to decide. I'll put it to you this way. If there were enough PlayStation owners and fans yelling at Sony for a Game Pass competitor and refusing to buy their products, they would do it. If they were losing business, Sony would do it. But they're not. And PlayStation fans have spoken, in my opinion. Not all of them, obviously. There are still those who do want Game Pass, but I'm just saying, man, like, I see a lot of PlayStation fans come to me and are like, dude, I don't give a shit about Game Pass, like, at all. And, like, I'm not about just trying to get the best deal. I just want to buy my games and play them and own them. And I'm like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I do genuinely wonder, like, out of, you have the pie, 100% of the pie that is the entire PlayStation fan base. I wonder what percentage of that pie doesn't care at all about Game Pass, to the point where even if Sony offered their own Game Pass, they still wouldn't care. You know what I mean? They would still just buy their games. That would be an interesting statistic that I would like to know. There's no way to know it, but let me see. Solid Liquid Snake 89. You're saying, hi MBG, greetings from Ireland. Hope all is well with you and the family. Well, thank you for asking. All is well. I appreciate that. Apart from the God of War sequel, what are you most excited for when it comes to PlayStation exclusives? Are you getting PSVR 2 day one? When it comes to PlayStation exclusives, I mean, obviously God of War's up there, but I don't want to say Horizon, only because I feel like that's just too, like, I feel like those are too obvious. Like, you guys know my hype levels for Horizon are 10 out of 10, God of War 10 out of 10. So what I'll tell you is that a game, and I've talked about it on the podcast somewhat frequently, but a game I'm very excited about and I really want to see more of, like, I say it like we've seen so much of it. A game I want to see and I'm very excited. There's two. I want to know what this Naughty Dog multiplayer game is, The Last of Us multiplayer. I want to see what this game's going to be, because I think it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to make people go, oh my God, this looks amazing, or oh my God, what are they doing? And I'm in the camp that I think it's going to be amazing. And I really want to know what this second title from Guerrilla Games is that they're working on outside of Horizon. The reason why I'm highlighting these two games specifically is because these two games are more than likely going to be revealed soon. Now, putting those two games aside, you already know. Metal Gear Remake. All right. Blue Point. Not saying, we don't know if it's real yet. That's why I can't say that as my number one game. But if it is, you don't have to ask that question anymore, because you will automatically know. And when it comes to PSVR 2 day one, absolutely. I skipped out on PlayStation VR, and people kept telling me, like, dude, you got to try it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. And considering the technology is going to be so much more advanced with PSVR 2, yeah, for sure. I'm all in with the next iteration of PSVR. Thank you for the donation, Chlorian Schaefer. I appreciate that, buddy. Rashdam V2. A double donation from Chlorian Schaefer, another 5. Thank you for that, buddy. Definitely helps me out. And then we have Rashdam V2. You're saying February 2022 at the earliest. Netherlands, which Guerrilla is located, is in lockdown again. The impact from the pandemic is starting to show for Sony devs. Yeah, I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know that they were back on lockdown. That would actually make a lot of sense now. Yeah, that's rough, dude. That's rough. I mean, it sucks. It sucks to see that, you know? Um, let me see here. So, hold on, guys. I'm checking something. So Florian Schaefer, I'm only saying this because I'm realizing I don't know if you were trying to super chat something and it like didn't work for you because I noticed you donated twice and you didn't say anything. So if I catch you in the chat, buddy, you don't have to super chat again if you're not able to. Just type what you want it in the chat and I'll see if I can catch it because I feel bad if that's what you were trying to do and it didn't work out for you. But yeah, if considering where Gorilla's located, if they're on lockdown again, I would assume that it would probably get delayed because of that. I mean, it's difficult for me to say like if that would actually happen or not because I don't know what their working conditions are like. Sony made it clear that during 2020 when lockdowns were like in full effect and they went above and beyond. Like they went above and beyond to be like, Gorilla, we're going to make sure you can get your stuff done. We'll find a way. BV, you're saying, have you tried reviewing Xbox Game Pass just to make sure just to make sure to know your own experience? So I actually, I have not had that much experience with Game Pass. For me, the little experience I do have with it just, I don't view Game Pass the way I guess a lot of people do. One of the things I see talked about all the time with Game Pass is it's hold on really quick. I'm gonna finish that thought in a second. Chlorian Schaefer, I think you said, "Hey, what's cracking, bro? I'm at Georgetown post-op on a right knee disarticulation and muscle reinnervation. I don't know what that is. All is well. Whatever that is, it sounds pretty brutal, man. I'm assuming that's what you were trying to say in the super chat. And so I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me when you're having something like that done, man. So again, I don't know what that is exactly, but it sounds pretty intense. So thank you for that. Hopefully I got what you were got to what you were trying to say, buddy. Whiskey Gaming, you're saying he had a knee surgery, but that all is well. Okay, so all right. Thank you for that. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I'm glad all went well. Thank you. Appreciate your support, dude. But yeah, the thing with Game Pass that I notice is that a lot of people talk about Game Pass where it's like, well, this is where I go to find my next game. And I can just try all of these games. And like, it's like, how there are those people who just love buffets? Like they love the idea of like, I just want to go to a buffet. Like the quality of the food doesn't necessarily matter. It's just they have all these options and they can find some stuff they like, and I understand the appeal of that, but I'm not a big fan of buffets in like real life. I'm just not. Like that's not my preferred experience. Like I want to go somewhere where it's more catered, and obviously have options, but to kind of compare that to the way I approach gaming, when I interacted with Game Pass, I just saw it's, and actually not too long ago, I checked out PlayStation Now. I didn't subscribe to it, but I just checked out some of the catalog and I'm like, I can't do this. It's like the same thing when I go in the PlayStation store. It's too much. It's too much. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Like I can't. And the idea that like I could just play all of these games, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Like I just, this is where I do look to word of mouth. People saying stuff, right? Like, hey, dude, like try this game. I'll go play this. And it's just the games I do play, I like to get heavily invested in. And the main appeal for me that I see for Game Pass for people is the fact that new games drop into it, right? That combined with, well, I have all these options, and so I totally understand why people do Game Pass, but I just feel like there's nothing there that's going to make me suddenly be like, Game Pass is amazing, because I know how I go about my gaming, and Game Pass just isn't for me. Even if I find a couple games I like, I'm still probably going to be like, well, I'm just, yeah, I don't know. I don't really, it's like a lot of these services, like people are like, well, you use Netflix and stuff, right? It's like, I can't stand it. I know that sounds crazy, but I can't stand it. It reaches a point where it's oversaturated. Like, I just can't keep track of it all. And the only time, like, you're really going to get my attention is if something sticks out and stands out, And that may mean I'm missing out on some good stuff, but that's the nature of, like, sometimes you have so much in front of you. It's like, I literally need somebody to tell me what I'm going to play right now, or what I'm going to go to, because I can't tell at all what I'm looking at. And it's just the one of the benefits of Game Pass that I would like to see Sony implement this. I don't know if they would have to create their own Game Pass like service to implement it, but is the idea of like game demos, where I do believe in, like, it's a developer's job. Like, part of your job is you have to sell me on your game with the way you present it, what you show. And there's like something special about that, where it's like, a developer has to care about how they present their game. First impressions mean a lot, but it would just be awesome if Sony could have some type of system in the PlayStation Store where you get, I don't know, like a developer could maybe cut out like a small chunk of their game, like a 2 to 3 minute sliver of their game, and put it there with their game, like it's optional, where it's basically like a mini demo. Where if you see a game in the PlayStation Store and you have any interest in it at all, you see some screenshots, you read the description, and then it's like, download the demo now. I don't know what they would call it, like a mini demo or something, um, and maybe they can make it where you have to be like a PlayStation Plus member to have access to something like that. But maybe you click that and you get to play it for like 3 minutes, and so you will know right then and there. I am talking about demos, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, imagine having a mini demo, like a small demo, and that does kind of go against what Sony is known for, though, because if we're doing the analogy, right? If we're doing the analogy of like a buffet versus like a premium restaurant experience, you don't just get free samples at the premium restaurant experience. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just going to be like, well, I'm looking at this on the menu and it sounds like it could be good, and I think I might like it, but I would like you to bring me out a free sample. That's literally the point of a buffet. You can take just one small little, bite of whatever you're seeing there and decide if you want more of it or not. And so, yeah, I don't know. It would be, I don't know. I feel like Sony's going to have to, I don't want to say they have to do something, but it's like, I think that for me, the biggest benefit of Game Pass that I can see, even as somebody who's not using it, is the fact that you can try before you buy. I mean, you are still paying money to get access to that, but I think that that's something that Sony should maybe try to look into, where it's like, allow developers to opt in or out of it. You know what I mean? But then again, you think about, like, maybe developers don't really want that. You're saying there are demos on the PlayStation Store. No, I know that. I know. So every MBG MBG advocates for paying higher prices and not a good deal for playing games. What the F? If that's how you want to see it, man, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm not about, hey, I want to spend as much money as I can on games. I'm just saying, if a developer, like with Returnal, if they say, hey, our game's worth $70 and we believe in it, and I'm going to be like, okay, I like your confidence, and it seems I like what you're showing me, so here you go. Don't get me wrong. If they're like, hey, we're going to give this to you for $30, I'll be like, awesome, that's even better. But I'm not going to demand that, or I'm not going to make it sound like, well, I'm not playing your game unless it's like $50 cheaper or like $30 cheaper. Like, no, tell me how much you want for your game. I'm going to look at what you present me with, and I will determine if I feel as though it's worth that price. It's as simple as that, really. Let me get to these super chats. Devilac47, you're saying, I feel like Returnal doesn't get the credit it deserves for no loading screens and instant travel between biomes. R&T aren't the only ones. No menus. That's true. That's true. That is an aspect of Returnal that I haven't really focused on too much. Maybe because it's one of those things where it's like I didn't even realize it. You know, I was playing it for so long, and I'm like, there is no loading screens. It's awesome. Chris B, thank you for that, by the way. Chris B, you're saying, didn't PlayStation Store have time trials for a while? I don't remember. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if what I'm saying about every game should have a small demo. That could be terrible, for all I know. I'm just saying it's for me, it would be a game changer to an extent because I see all these games on the PlayStation Store and it's just my interest in them. It's very minimal. Like there has to be something that really stands out to me. And I just don't like this idea that, with Game Pass, you do have, it's not much different, honestly, because I'm sitting here making it sound like, oh, if you're subscribed to Game Pass, you have a demo for every Xbox game. You do not. You do not. You have a demo for every game that's in Game Pass. So again, the idea of Sony having that ability, and from what I gather, development teams don't like making demos. Apparently, it's bothersome. It's annoying for them. It gets in the way, and I understand that. So I don't know. I'm just more of a traditionalist. That's all. I just feel like I said, show me what you got. Tell me how much you want for it. Show me some, gameplay video, some screenshots, mainly a gameplay video. That's really what I need to see. And if I feel as though it looks worth what you're asking, then I'll pay it. If I feel like it doesn't, then I won't. And then if a developer wants to go above and beyond and say, here's a small demo so you can know for sure, that's great. But I know not every developer is going to do that. Mr. Hamster, you're saying, MBG, did you shave your beard? Look different today. It's my mustache that's gone. It's the third time we're bringing it up now. My mustache is gone. It's gone temporarily. It's going to come back. Don't worry. It's going to come back. I don't know who's worried about it. I'm probably the one that's worried about it. But, all right. So just to get back to what I was trying to talk about. Look, by the way, guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. I think we could easily get to 400 likes. There's over 700 people here hanging out with me, which is awesome. Thank you guys for that. Please hit the like button. Everybody calling you out on that facial hair. Yeah. The high contrast isn't helping. Yeah, I think it's my lighting. I don't know if this is going to make it better or worse. I have to actually look. It's a little bit delayed on my end. I think that helped. I think the light was too direct. I think the lighting was just too high. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Sometimes I can't tell because I have my window open or my curtain open, and sometimes the clouds come by and it gets darker, and then sun shining gets brighter. I never really know what to set my lighting to. So hopefully this is better. But come on, Sony, bring on the event. We are ready. PlayStation fans are ready, Sony. I don't know if Sony's ready, but we're ready. We're ready to see some new stuff. I want to talk about this for a second. Because this is something that people have brought up to me. They're like, it's just not a lot of people have brought it up, but I've seen some people mention it. And I think there's something to it. I think there might be something to it. So, how many of you? I'm just curious in the comments. Or in the chat, how many of you are feeling confident that Sony's going to do something on August 12th? Do most of you feel like they are going to do something? You're feeling confident, or you don't think they are? You don't care? Have no idea. 50-50. They'll do something, they're not. Keep your expectations low, 90%. Seems like it's pretty split, which is totally understandable because we don't really have any reliable sources letting us know, or at least what you would consider very reliable sources. All right, so what some people have been telling me, and what I've actually been thinking about myself, is I'm thinking, what if Sony doesn't hold an event until December? Now, I know to some people that sounds insane because it's like, holy crap, that's a long time from now. But my whole thing about this is Sony trademarked PlayStation Experience. Okay. They trademarked PlayStation Experience earlier this year. It was actually in early June. And a lot of people were like, oh, dude, they're going to do something with that. And the thing about PlayStation Experience is it hasn't ever happened outside of December. The only time we've ever seen PlayStation Experience is in December. And so I kind of have been thinking about this idea of like, what if Sony's plan is to kind of just drip feed us some stuff, like, until December because they want to have a big PlayStation Experience in December. I don't know. It does feel too far away, and it feels like they would have to do something before then. And maybe what Sony's going to do is maybe they'll do some more Horizon before then, maybe a little bit of PSVR 2. But I don't know. That's just a thought of mine. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Obviously, if I did know, I wouldn't be talking about it in this way. But it's just something to consider. They did trademark PlayStation Experience. I want to talk, before I talk about PlayStation Home, I want to talk about Blue Box. Look, I know. I can't tell anymore. I can't tell. Like, does my audience get excited when I talk about Blue Box? Do they get annoyed? I can't tell. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to talk about it regardless. But there's a reason why I want to talk about it. There's always a reason I want to talk about it. Kojima Island. I love talking about it. I'm going to tell you why I love talking about it. Because I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Boxy, you're saying, hey, MBG, I hope all is well. I definitely think they will have an event in August or early September. They've gone quite a long time without any big news, and people are starting to get restless. Yes, they are. Does anybody find it, like, a little bit conspicuous that... Thank you for that super chat, by the way, but doesn't anybody find it a little bit conspicuous just how quiet Sony has gotten? I mean, dude, they have been like... I'm talking like the past week and a half, 2 weeks. Silence. Absolute silence, dude. I don't think Hassan will mind me mentioning this here. Hopefully he doesn't mind. But, we talked a little bit recently. Nothing major. I was just actually asking him how the app was coming along. And the reason why I was asking that is because I was just thinking, like, what if it gets delayed again? And it sounds like they're working really, really hard to get the app ready. And it seems like they're kind of under, like, definitely some pressure to... You're saying I did not. No, I really did. I'm not kidding. Hassan's a cool dude. He's not, like, he'll probably answer you if you ask him a question. He's pretty chill like that. And he actually, I was surprised. He seems extremely enthusiastic about the app and the date specifically. So what he told me is that everything is set right now, and everything's going along good. And so MBG was talking to himself. Have I gone that insane? But yeah, it was nice to hear that because he did say that eventually they are going to do the Q&A and whatnot. And look, like, it's always so weird to me when I talk to Hassan at all or I see him interact with people because I'm like, this is just a normal dude. But then I'm like, but the whole situation's still so weird, right? Was this a phone conversation? No. It was just a quick message. And it's basically what I'm trying to say is that, like, from what I understand, it seems like the app is not going to get delayed again, which I think is good. At least, I don't want to say that for sure, but I was just kind of wondering, like, is there a chance... that it might get slipped back again. And it seems like it's not. And, I saw that Shuhei Yoshida acknowledged Blue Box Game Studios for the first time. And, he's like, I don't know. Never heard of him. Who's Blue Box? Who's Hassan? Who? What? Um, and I'm so I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me this. Maybe you guys can tell me this. All right. I may have gone completely insane to the point where I don't know that I'm going to ever come back from this. That's how insane I've went. So, PlayStation Home. Real-time experience app. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, could there be anything there? Is this app actually PlayStation Home? And maybe we're going to see the event in real time in PlayStation Home. I don't know. Yeah, dude, I gotta say, first of all, abandoned real time ARE alternate reality experience. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a real shame. It's gonna be a real shame if, in the end, with the whole Blue Box game studios and I don't know, man. Like I believe Hassan. Hassan seems like a cool dude, but I feel like there's something underneath the surface here, that we can't see clearly yet. And I feel like we can tell like something's there, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know. I feel like the wait is killing me. The wait for, like, I feel like the thing that gets me the most concerned, guys, is that I mean, if you go back, like, I was actually, believe it or not, I was going back and I was looking at some of my own content and watching it, and I was listening, and I went back and I'm like checking like a lot of the Blue Box tweets and like what people are saying, and the response. I was mainly checking the responses that like Blue Box was giving fans and whatnot, and I kept noticing that like there's this theme, okay, and it's a strange theme, and I don't know what to make of it. There's this theme that basically it's, hey, we have this thing, we're making this thing, and we're going to reveal this thing, but actually you're not going to see the thing yet, and we're going to put this thing out, but it's going to reveal this game or this thing, but actually don't expect it. You're going to have to wait. This is just how it is. And it's so, like, I keep getting this feeling that, guys, like, even if we get this app on like, we're not going to get any answers on the 29th. On the 29th, we're going to preload the app. Real quick, too, I need to mention this to you guys. Let me know in the chat if you think this is weird. Actually, I want to see if I can bring it up real quick, because people were mentioning this to me, and they're like, hey, man, don't you think this is a little strange? And I want to mention it to you guys real quick. It was with one of their tweets where they talk about the app. Yeah, so, on July 14th, they said, we have changed the app name from real-time trailers to real-time experience. So the app will be released as real-time experience. No, that's not the one. On July 11th, they say, we're excited to announce that the Abandoned Trailers app will be available to preload free of charge for all PS5 users. A bunch of people were like pointing out to me, like, dude, free of charge? Like, why are they, like, wasn't that assumed? Like, it's an app, like, there's really no apps on PlayStation 5 as far as I know that charge you money. I mean, there's like subscription services that you download and then you can subscribe to them, but there's like no app. Is there an app on the PlayStation Store that, on the PS5 store specifically, not PS4, on the PS5, that charges you money? I'm pretty sure there aren't any. And so people were catching on that. They're like, that's a little weird. I don't think anybody was under the assumption that they were going to have to pay for it. And I don't know, man, this kind of got me thinking, like, what is this? Again, like, I don't know. I started thinking more about PlayStation Home recently, and I'm like, well, I don't know that this app would be PlayStation Home, but PlayStation Home does seem like the type of thing that would make people think they would have to pay money for it. PlayStation Home is technically an app. It's not technically a game, right? In a way. So I don't know. I'm just thinking like I think there's just some weird stuff going on here, and I don't know. I feel like I keep going in all these different directions, and I can't put my finger on anything specifically. JFK TV, you're saying ever since MBG revealed his face, Kojima sent him a message to ask him to be Hassan's body double. MBG is basically all of us, and we are him. So yeah, dude. Again, I have to mention. People were telling me that I got a little bit of a shout out on Sacred Symbols Plus episode with Colin Moriarty and Dustin Furman, I think, where they had a whole episode dedicated to the Blue Box conspiracy we got going on here. And they mentioned me at one point. They kept saying my name wrong, which was really funny. But one of the things that they had said that really kind of caught me off guard was, they said like, oh, maybe he's in on it. And I'm like, oh, dude, like, I'm not in on it, man. Like, I've tried explaining it many times. Where, like, if there's something going on, like, I don't know what I'm in on. Like, I don't know what this is. And I think it's really unique and interesting, just the whole build up to this. But, I don't know. I want to act like, oh yeah, I know something you guys don't. I mean, I feel like I'm confident in some of the things that I like. I like you, MG, but you clearly never had a drama class. Like, I don't get it. See, that's what I don't get, man. Like, do you think I'm acting right? Do you think I'm trying to act right now? I'm not. My whole thing with it is I don't know what to say about it anymore. Because I feel like a part of me is 100% Team Real, and then another part, like 25% of me is like Team Fake. Maybe, I don't know. This is coming from someone who has watched all of your videos. I saw the shift when you admitted that you trolled us. I mean, I think that. So here's a theory I have about the abandoned, the abandoned real-time experience app. Here's a theory I have for you guys, and I'm curious to see what you think of this. So you know how we I know, dude. It's okay, James. I know. You know how we were talking about. Well, maybe Sony is planning an event at the end of the year in December. What if this app, like, you guys notice how this has been like elongated, right? Where it's like the build up to whatever this is has been, it's been drip fed to us, and it's been we feel like we're kind of, it's like always the little carrot dangling in front of us and we're chasing it. I'm almost wondering if, like, what if that's like when we get the app, it just continues. It just continues, where it's just more and more teases, and like it becomes more clear as we go further into the year that it's leading up to something big. You're saying the app is the event? Yeah, I think it could be that too. But I just feel like there's going to be more to, like, I don't think it's just all going to be revealed at once. It could be, and I hope it is, because I mean, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I don't know what to say about it anymore. Blue Box has been pretty quiet. I do check the subreddit from time to time, and man, I mean, people think I'm, crazy with the stuff that I'm saying. People think I'm crazy with what is the size of the app? I don't know. I feel like that could be a somewhat telling part of it as well. But preload starts on the 29th, And then on August 10th, we're going to get an introduction. We're going to get an introduction. Dude, I'm telling you now, I know this may sound crazy. I want you guys to hear me out on this. Is it 1.6 gigabytes? Do we have that confirmation? Can somebody confirm this for me? SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs. There's your SNL riddle. I mean, that would be... What is the introduction, though? What does it mean? Dude, I don't know. That's it. It's 1.9 gigabytes. That's pretty small. 1.6 is 9.1 upside down. It's 1.9 gigabytes. Yeah, that's definitely a small download. So, well, that kind of throws my theory off a little bit. But my theory was going to be, what if the thing is I just feel like it would be kind of, I don't want to say stupid, but man, it would be the craziest mind F. What if and I want you to understand, don't take what I'm saying seriously right now. It's just a crazy thought process I'm having. You're saying that's pretty large for a streaming app? It is, right? What if everything we've heard so far is true? As in, this is a real studio. They're actually working on something. And what's interesting is that, I think Hassan confirmed himself that there's 50 plus people, including the outsourcing studios, working on this. What if none of this is a lie, because the game, this app, is actually PlayStation Home, but that's what this studio, Blue Box, whatever, it's actually a real thing, and it's been developed, and it's almost done. It's about to drop, and then we download it, and then we think, oh, that's it. But then the introduction is actually, guys, here's the new version of PlayStation Home. We're going to have an event coming up soon that you can watch in real time inside of PlayStation Home. I don't know. That's just I only say this because there was some rumors going around that PlayStation Home is coming back. Apparently, Sony updated the trademark for it as recently as July 21st. And I'm almost thinking, I don't know, man. That would be something else. PT was a 1.3 gigabyte download. I don't know. I maybe MBG, Sony announced a discussion on August 28th for Team Asobi and Japan XDev. Where did they announce that? Siler is saying, you mean to tell me you didn't see the event date at the end of God of War on the prophecy wall? What? That would be dope. Yeah, that would be crazy. You know what would be crazy about that? You know what would be crazy about the whole Blue Box thing? If they were actually developing. Oh, dude, that would be next level. Imagine Blue Box. It is a real developer and a real studio, and they're actually going to be part of Sony's first party, and their task was to create and maintain the new version of PlayStation Home. And maybe they're doing it all this way, possibly because what if the Silent Hill Kojima, I don't know, Kojima maybe, but the Silent Hill reveal is real, and they're it's actually going to be revealed inside of PlayStation Home. Wouldn't that be that would be insane, wouldn't it? This is just off the wall speculation, but it just got me thinking where I'm that would be crazy. That would be absolutely insane. I don't know. Because when I saw people on Reddit pointing out dude, something is happening with PlayStation Home. It's something's happening with it. I'm that's so strange. The timing of seeing movement with this PlayStation Home trademark, and we have this app. I mean, would PlayStation Home development, would that be does 50 developers, I feel 50 developers sounds too much for PlayStation Home development. Doesn't it? But then again, maybe Sony wants it to be big. Also, oh my God. Okay. Does anybody I'm just having fun here. Does anybody remember the tweet that Blue Box Game Studios put out where they're like, what do you guys prefer? First person or third person? I mean, I could. So, like, if you were using a PSVR headset for the new version of PlayStation Now or Home, you'll be in first person. If you're not, if you're just using a controller, you'll be in third person. I don't know. I'm going straight to the moon. Yep. I'm going straight to the moon. But fun fact, that tweet was deleted. That I couldn't find it. Fourth person, you play as a developer. Ayo Theo, you're saying I played PlayStation Home as a kid, and I don't think there's enough demand for it to have its own launch app. Perhaps it's getting announced soon. I mean, maybe the way... Here's the thing. Like, you may be right about that. Maybe the way Sony gets people pumped for PlayStation Home, and they basically get everybody to download it and play it, is they say you can... Like, we're going to have an app. Like, you can basically enter a giant movie theater in PlayStation Home and watch their PlayStation event in this theater with all these other players, all these other people, and experience it in real time. And you know, because you're already holding the controller, you get to experience like the haptics and stuff. I don't know. I just it's I'm probably nowhere near, like, everything I'm saying right now is probably just kind of off the wall, but I don't know, man. I'm still so suspicious. MBG's middle name is far-fetched. I'm just so suspicious of the whole thing because there's something weird going on, and I just want to know what's going on. I just want to know what's going on, and I feel like no one will give me any concrete answers. And you know what? It's not even that no one will give me any concrete answers. It's also the fact that, like, again, referencing what Colin Moriarty said, and the reason why I'm referencing him is because he's been covering PlayStation pretty much longer than anybody. Like, Colin Moriarty has been covering PlayStation for, what, like 20 years or something? It's some crazy number. And he was saying, he's like, dude, yeah, this isn't at all even, like, this is a thing. Like, this is a thing. This is not normal. Like, PlayStation does not operate in this way at all, you know? And I just was watching that, and I'm like, man, I gotta get my tinfoil hat on again. Like, something's gone. I don't know. I feel weird though, man, because Hassan is a cool guy, and he's a really nice dude, and I've talked to him multiple times. I'm like, dude, he's convincing, man. He's convincing. He's tempted to convince me that, like, they're just an indie dev and they're just making a game, and that they don't want all this attention, and they want to set expectations. And I'm just like, I believe you, man, but I'm still so sus. Still so sus. But I feel so bad because I'm like, if this really is just a chill, normal dude and he, like, got himself in too deep and didn't mean to, I do not want to make it worse for him, you know? I want to help him, but I don't. Ayo Theo, again, you're saying, do you believe Roberto Serrano's PSX August leak? I don't know. I mean, Roberto Serrano, I think people don't take him very seriously at all. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he did get a couple of dates right, specifically for PlayStation. So he might be correct. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Roberto Serrano was like, hey, August 12th. Okay. And then we look at the Blue Box Game Studios abandoned real-time experience app. They're saying August 10th for the introduction. And then that more will come later in August. By later, they could very well mean 48 hours later on the 12th. So I don't know, man. Kojima paid for Hassan's acting classes. Hassan did mention that one of his two biggest influences as a game director are Neil Druckmann and Hideo Kojima. So, yeah. Am I using sus wrong? I am using it wrong. I am using it wrong, aren't I? I'm making it sound like I'm the one that you should be suspicious of. I am not. All I'm trying to convey is I'm not 100% convinced. And I'm going to feel really bad if this turns out to be nothing. And I just spent all this time still not being 100%. Oh. Sus. Wait, hold on. No way. You're telling me sus stands for suspect and not suspicious? Can't you use it for both? You guys are about to blow my mind right now. No way. No way. Oh my god. Holy hell. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Mark, they're both the same thing, right? They're both the same thing. I can't even, dude, whatever. Sus is gonna mean whatever the hell I want it to mean. All right, that's what it's gonna mean what I want it to mean. Jessica, you're saying go to the Real Time UK website. Pretty good background info there. Jessica, what's that in reference to? Real Time UK website. I don't feel comfortable like just going to websites I'm not familiar with at all. Makes me nervous. And PSVR 2 will reinvigorate the PlayStation Home hype. It'll be a better VR chat. See, that's why I think no matter what, something is happening with PlayStation Home, because with PSVR 2 on the horizon, it's you know, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Excuse me. Real-time trailers. All right. I'll have to look into that. So it's Real-Time UK website. Will I buy Jade Raymond's new game if it is a live service? I mean, it being a live service has nothing to do with whether or not I'm going to be interested in Jade Raymond's game. I have to see the game. Like, that's why I'm not hopping on the bandwagon where it's like, oh, if it's a live service, then it's going to suck. Like, that doesn't always have to be the case. Like, let's see the game first. Jessica, thank you again. You're saying it's legit. Let me see. Real Time UK. Well, that didn't. Let's see. Checking now. Okay, here we go. Real Time. This does look legit. Interesting. Crafting belief. I don't know. I don't know if that's associated with it at all. It could be. I mean, dude, like, we don't. No one knows, man. Some people know, but most people don't know. Did I see the PlayStation Plus lineup for August? Yeah. It's weak. I'm not gonna lie, it's weak. It's really weak. But not every month can be a banger, right? But to be honest, I don't have much more to say on the oh, you know what? I do have one other thing to say. I want to pay a visit to Hideo Kojima's Twitter, if you don't mind. It's that part of the podcast. It's that time where we go pay a visit. So, dude, like, I can't get over the whole. So, you know how we talked about earlier in this podcast how there were rumors about Battlefield 2042 being, like, hey, it's going to come to Game Pass. That's what all the rumors are saying. And basically, Xbox fans got all excited and are like, yeah, Battlefield's coming to Game Pass, and it just like never happened, and like they ended up disappointed. But like the rumors really made it sound like it was going to be for sure. I feel like we may be in a similar situation with the whole Kojima Xbox thing. And I'm not saying that Kojima won't end up partnering with Xbox. In fact, they might. He might. We don't know. But what I'm saying is that, like, what is up with these Xbox dudes who are talking as if the deal has not only been signed already, but we've seen Kojima's next game and it's going to be amazing and it's never coming to PlayStation. Like, you see the way these dudes act where it's like, how about we just wait and not assume that we know? But the statue, MBG. And I'm saying this because it's like every time I see Kojima tweet something, people like try to turn it into like, hey, this means Kojima's going to Xbox. I'm like, look, I know that we're just as bad where it's like, hey, it means Kojima's making Silent Hill. But it's like, I mean, has anybody ever considered that maybe Kojima is making I don't know, a multi-plat title? It's possible. Who knows? It's Grubb's fault. I think the last thing that Jeff Grubb said about it was that they were getting ready to sign a letter of intent. So that doesn't mean that if that is true, that doesn't mean, say Grubb was very sure a letter of intent was signed. Yeah, so we'll have to see if, I mean, that's what's weird. So I want to go to, the reason why I want to go to Kojima's Twitter is, I don't know, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to read too much into Kojima because that's what he's known for. Like, Kojima's known for just kind of like being, saying stuff that you think maybe doesn't have any meaning and then it actually does. But one of the things I wanted to point out recently was that he has been talking like nonstop about editing his new trailer. I'm sure anybody, if you follow Kojima on Twitter, you'll know that like last week, not this past week, well, I guess, yeah, basically like the week prior, he just kept talking nonstop about his trailer that he was editing. And it was like, I don't know, man. Like, it just seemed like he was talking about it excessively, right? Like, to the point where it's like, dude, like, okay, like, you're going to edit the Death Stranding trailer. We're all excited. But there's a reason why I'm mentioning this. So he went from every single day, multiple times a day, talking about editing his trailer. And then he just stopped talking about it. Like, he just dropped it completely. And this is the last thing he said about it, if I could find it. So he said on July 18th, I don't think I'll have much time to sit down and work on the editing machine this week. So I'll go back to my roots and change the way I create. I'm going to listen to the songs I'm going to use over and over like I used to and, quote, air edit, unquote, them in my head. Arrange the scenes in my mind that will appear in response to the sound. Decide which scenes you want to use where to a certain extent, and then use the editing machine to pick them up and place them. This should be more efficient. And then he didn't say a word about it since. And so, I don't know. The most recent thing, let me jump back to the top here. The most recent thing he's talking about, which I actually find interesting, and people are reading into this. People are reading into what Kojima is saying here by making it sound like he's going to embrace the cloud and that his next game will actually be cloud-based. So he says 19 hours ago, which I think this is actually crazy. He says, I still buy CDs and put the songs on my Walkman via my computer. I don't have a single song on my phone. I can't stop by a Tower Records as often as I used to and listen to music in the store, and I don't encounter many new brands anymore. I can check the new albums of my favorite bands on the internet, though. I used to enjoy watching them and developing my taste. He continues by saying one day there will be no more CDs or BDs. That day will come for sure. As a person from the Showa era, I want to physically own the things I like. I guess it's because I grew up in a time where there were no goods or information like now. Streams are more convenient. And then he says, it took me a lot of courage to switch from LPs when CDs arrived. And like, people were basically saying that like he's trying to imply that he's going like, people are looking into it and they're like, oh, this means he's definitely making a cloud game. He's making a cloud game. And I'm like, I guess that could, the way I'm reading it is that he's basically saying the opposite. You know what I mean? Where like, it almost like to me, this sounds like he's making it sound like he loves physical media and he doesn't want to have to let go of it. He's acknowledging that it will go away one day, but that, I don't know. I guess it can be, but I'm just, maybe it doesn't mean anything. Like, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but it just, I don't know. It just seems strange to me that a man who clearly likes physical media, to him it's very important, and he likes having that ownership. He's making that clear. It seems strange to me that he's going to be the first guy to be like, but I'm definitely, I'm going to cloud gaming. I don't know. It's nobody can predict Kojima. And then he says, before CV, I used to visit a bookstore every day. Now I can't do that. So I often get information on social networking sites and buy books on Amazon. For me, a bookstore was a comfortable place. For me, bookstores were a comfortable place because that's where I got all of my reading done. What really worries me is how long paper books will last. If there are no new publications, I will have no choice but to switch to digital. So, I don't know. I think his string of tweets were interesting regardless. I don't know that they mean anything. What is this? Hold on. All right, really quick, I'm going to go check Cory Barlog's Twitter. See what's going on over there. What he said, somebody sent me something, or somebody was trying to point something out. I don't know if it's actually important or not. No. Corey's not talking to me. Cory Barlog did not send me anything. Somebody was pointing me out to a tweet, a response or something. I got to see if I can find it though. Okay, so this guy, Pio, I think his name is, or real quick, Ao Theo, you're saying something I thought about is the fact that Rockstar Games hasn't revealed any footage of the new GTA 5 expanded and enhanced edition, and its release is right around the corner. You think they're waiting for the PSX event? Yeah, so dude, that's a really good point, Ao Theo. That's something that is 100% happening. Yeah, dude, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, we need to... Yeah, dude, I think there's going to be an event, man. Like, I don't see how there couldn't be, right? Like, something. I don't know if it's going to be, like, a big, ultra-massive event that we're hoping for, but it could be, like, yeah, that's to me, that's kind of really obvious, right? At least it is when you mention it, where it's like, wait, we are supposed to see GTA 5. That's coming out at the end of this year. Where is it? And we know that Sony and Rockstar are partnered. In fact, if you remember last year during Sony's first event in June, that was the game they opened up with, which people weren't excited about, but they did it. They did it. So he says, Mr. Pio, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He says, I keep thinking about this. Sony PlayStation event starts out with a dark screen. You see someone far away. Camera keeps going in. You notice it's Cory Barlog. Eyes shut. Camera zooms even more on the face. He opens his eyes and stares into your soul. I've heard of it. And then Cory Barlog responded by saying, I like this. One question though. What's Sony PlayStation? I don't know. I don't know I don't know what's a hint anymore and what's not. Is he saying that there could be an event? What's Sony PlayStation? I don't know, dude. I, I've heard of it. That would be really funny. That would be a really funny way for them to show more God of War. It's just Cory Barlog staring. I've heard of it. And then they proceed to not show it. I don't know, man. We're losing our minds over here, people. We're losing our minds. I'm curious to see what some of the responses are to this. 2 weeks later, what's a Cory? What's a Cory Barlog? Dude, I'm about to ask Cory Barlog if he knows what's going on with the blue box situation. Wasn't Cory Barlog officially following, like, it was his real, was it Instagram? His real Instagram account. He was following Hassan, I think, on Instagram, but then Hassan... Yeah. And then Hassan deleted his Instagram. I don't know. Dude, I can't take it anymore. I can't wait any longer. I need to know the truth. I feel like this is all being done on purpose. The silence. It's like, get people off the trail, get people not to think about it as much. I don't know. JDTV, you're saying, I hope PlayStation Home actually comes back. I spent so much time there on the PS3 and it was amazing. I hope you don't need VR for it, though. Yeah, I don't think you would need VR for it. That would make no sense. I don't see how you could bring PlayStation Home back and then be like, you can only use it in VR. I mean, it's possible. It's possible, but I just don't think that would make much sense. So, I don't know, man. I just get this feeling that something's going to happen soon. And I feel that all of this stuff is interconnected somehow. I may be trying to connect dots where there's no need to connect them, but I don't know. I can't help it, you know? So anyway, we talked about this long enough. I want to move on to one more topic. I was going to talk a little bit about EA, but now I'm thinking I might not, because it's getting, I don't know, we're past the 2-hour mark. But one thing I do want to talk about is Sony's focus on multiplayer. You know, this is something I've noticed recently where a lot of PlayStation fans seem down because Sony has a bigger focus on multiplayer going forward. And one thing I've noticed recently is with Haven Studio, you know, their game apparently is going to be a game as a service. And look, don't get me wrong. I feel like games as a service can be horrible, and I don't really get excited for them, but I just feel like it really depends on what type of game it is and how this game as a service is handled. Because I feel like it's just like anything else. It can be great, but it can be the worst thing ever. It depends. It's about the execution. So, a lot of people automatically jumping on like, well, Jade Raymond's next game is going to suck because it's a game as a service. It's a new PS5 exclusive IP. It could suck, but it's like, we don't know enough. I'm not going to write it off just because of that. And that goes for any of the multiplayer games that Sony has in development. Do I think live services are ruining multiplayer games? I don't think they're ruining them. I think we've come a long way, to be completely honest. I think we've come a long way from the loot box microtransactions to now it's like season passes and stuff like that. Not season passes, but different seasons where there's a mix of free and paid content. I think it's a much better solution than what we used to have. I'm curious what you guys think of this. A lot of PlayStation fans are like, look, we want single player games from Sony. We love the single player experiences. My question is, what would a live service game be like? Like, just imagine a game like, I don't want to use a game we already have as an example, but like, I don't know. If Sony were to create a game from their first party where it's a live service title, but it has like single player elements, interwoven into it where you can play through it single player, but you can also play through it like co-op as well. I think that could be pretty cool, but I think it's dependent on how it's handled, you know? Um, Ray, you're saying, why has Sony or Blue Box Studio try to go after Blue Box Japan Twitter? Would it not tarnish the Blue Box or Sony name? They're posting on stuff. So just real quick to go back to that for just a moment, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you this. Dude, the fact that no one has shut this down, for as weird as it is, like Sony has not disassociated themselves, Sony is in on it. They have to be. Sony is 100% in on it. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff that you would think, well, wouldn't they do this or shouldn't this have happened? And it's like, no, none of it did happen. All right? It didn't. And I'm telling you, it's because I'm pretty sure no matter what this ends up being, Sony is 100% in on it. I do. Then we have Matthew saying, hey, bro, hope you're doing good. And I would love to be a moderator for you as I've had my own Facebook page and I'm a great admin / moderator. Matthew, we will see. I think I'm good with mods right now, but that could change, obviously. The mods I have so far been doing a pretty good job, but I'll keep your name in mind. It's good. You're basically saying you have some experience, so that definitely helps. So stick around, man, because in the future, right now I'm not too worried about mods because as you can tell, like we're in a down period right now. So like my streams have not been like, it's not like we have thousands of people here right now, right? But if things do start to pick up, like dude, if this blue box thing turns out to be something crazy and Sony has some massive event, I'm definitely gonna need some more mods. So stick around, man. We will see what happens, and I will definitely, keep you in mind going forward when things do eventually start to pick up. But thank you for that. Yeah, so like the whole multiplayer thing, I mean, I do understand the fear because Sony, I listen to Mystic, and one of the things that Mystic says that I actually totally agree with, and I think he hits the nail on the head, is he says, look, Sony just wants one game. Just one game, and that's all it's going to take. They want one extremely successful mega hit, ultra hit, smash hit, whatever you want to call it, live service game. Because Sony's not dumb, and neither are any of these other publishers. Sony can see how much money a game like Fortnite makes, how much money a game like GTA Online is making, right? And some of these other service games as well. And they're like, we need in on this. And I don't fault Sony for that, And so I think what Sony's trying to do this generation is they're trying to give themselves the best possible chance at achieving one of those successful games as a service titles. And I think that's why they're greenlighting so many multiplayer games where it's like Haven Studio, Deviation Games, Firewalk, even our own first-party studios with Naughty Dog, with Sucker Punch is making a multiplayer game. I think a lot of people don't know this. Sucker Punch is making a multiplayer game. I guarantee you it's a multiplayer, like co-op. Dude, I'll put it to you this way. Look at the multiplayer that Sucker Punch released for Ghost of Tsushima. That's the template for their live service Ghost of Tsushima game. It's basically Destiny, but Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima Destiny. That type of model. Where they're gonna probably have PvP, they're gonna have story missions, the whole thing, and that, like, I think that could be insanely successful. It could be on top of the single player standalone stories. And, people worry. They're like, well, if Sony does achieve that and they do get their big hit live service game, is that going to incentivize them to not do single player anymore? I sure hope not. And that to me, that is the most legitimate concern because look at what happened to Rockstar. Rockstar cared about single player. They were going to make single player DLC for GTA, and they were like, we don't have to do that. We can just make more money on GTA Online. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see that happen with Sony. So I do worry. But the reason why I think Sony wouldn't do that is because it's too much of their DNA. It really is. Like Sony, I think, is like, look, even if they make, like, let's just say this Last of Us online game, it's going to be a game as a service. for sure. This Last of Us online game, it's going to be a game as a service. Let's say that game turns out to be their mega hit service game. Is that all Naughty Dog's going to do going forward? No, it's not. And I say that because even Naughty Dog wouldn't want to do that. Naughty Dog is going to go on to make another single player game. Could be The Last of Us 3, could be a new IP, but they're going to do that. They'll have a whole team dedicated to running that service Last of Us multiplayer game, but I just don't see Sony abandoning single player, even if they do find tremendous success. I think they want both. I really do. Another reason I don't think Sony would abandon single player at all, even if they find success in the multiplayer space, they just make too much money off their game sales. They really do, and they have to sell a console. That's, to me, that's like the most important factor. Sony has to sell a console, and you can sell a console with live service games, but you're going to need those single player titles to push them, right? Like, Sony's not ever going to be like, well, we're not going to make another God of War. We're not going to make another Ghost of Tsushima or Horizon. Like, they're not going to do it. Sony's devs wouldn't want to do that either. So, I'm not worried about it. I think it is a genuine concern, but I am not worried about it. Not anytime soon. JDTV, you're saying, question for Detective MBG. Why do you think PlayStation Home was shut down by Sony on the PS3, even though it was pretty full of people who were playing? I don't know, man. Like, honestly, I'm not familiar enough with the original PlayStation Home to know. I don't know. Did Sony never give a reason for it? I mean, I appreciate you calling me Detective MBG, but there's just some things I don't have the answers to, you know? I wish I could tell you. But thank you for the super chat, man. Matthew Dillon, again, you're saying, also forgot to tell you I found a backwards compatible PS3 first release so I can play all PlayStation games along my PS5. Well, that's awesome, dude. I feel like that's hard to come by at this point. I haven't actively looked, but yeah, hold on to that, man. Get the best of both worlds. Ayo Theo, you're saying, I want to know about Leslie Benzie's game Everywhere. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Rockstar, see, that's what's scary, dude, is like we've witnessed it, right? And I don't want to see Sony become the next Rockstar. I don't fault Sony for wanting to find success with multiplayer and have a game as a service. They will succeed at some point. Sony has enough. They're throwing enough stuff against the live service wall this generation. Just look at their job listings. Look at their partners. They're doing enough. They're going to succeed at some point. I just hope that when they do, they don't end up like being like, yeah, you know, we don't really care whether our teams, they're not making single player. And then suddenly all of the talent that made up Sony's single player DNA, they end up just leaving. Because that's what happened with Rockstar. Their developers just left. Dude, they lost Leslie Benzies. They lost, oh my God, what's his name? Dan Houser, who was one of the founders. And they lost that guy, Laszlo, I think, as well. These are all people that were like, they were at the core of the GTA games, the mainline GTA games, right? And Rockstar just let them go because they're like, yeah, we don't have any use for you. And I think that that's dumb as hell. Because I know GTA Online can be sustainable forever, but it's like, why can't you just do both? Like, why can't you just make single player DLC along? Like, you have more than enough money. Why can't you make a Max Payne 4? Right? Like, I'm serious. Like, why can't you do this stuff? It drives me insane. It's worth noting that they still made Red Dead Redemption 2 even after GTA Online was a success. So it's not like they won't still do some stuff, but you're saying the Hausers pushed out Benzies? It's fascinating because it's like, if that's true, then there's two, the Hauser brothers, one of the Hauser brothers left. I don't know, man. We're going to have to see how it all pans out, but I just don't want to see, you know, like, could you imagine what would happen if, I don't know, Sony has a bunch of successful live service games and then like they basically tell Sony Santa Monica, you have to make your own successful live service game. I'm pretty sure Cory Barlog is going to leave at that point. He's not going to stay. Like, you know, I could be wrong, but like, I just don't see that ever happening. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, I think Sony, you know, Herman Holst and Jim Ryan, I know that people are a little bit skeptical of them, which I am too to a certain extent, but there's no way that they're dumb enough to look at it as like, hey, if we do find success in this area, like there's no way they suddenly think, well, we don't have to do single player anymore. Like, no, no. That's their, not only is that their bread and butter, but it's like, it gives you too much notoriety. Like, this is what you're known for, you know? It is literally your DNA. But I do want to see some successful multiplayer from Sony. I think it could be good. I think it could be good. I think they could. I think Sony is well poised to have the best of both worlds if they play their cards right. I do. And then Eric, you're saying Uncharted 4 multiplayer didn't take away from the excellent single player game, so I'm not worried with that. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like, you know, the interesting thing about Sony's approach to multiplayer this time around is they are not looking at multiplayer as an add-on or like it's in addition. Like, no. This time Sony's like, we see that there can be something much bigger and better with, say, a Last of Us multiplayer game. It doesn't just have to be an add-on. We can make a full-blown AAA multiplayer Last of Us game, and that's what we're going to do. And then maybe we'll get The Last of Us 3 after that, which I probably wouldn't play. I don't know if I would. But, you know, Spider-Man, Insomniac Games is making a multiplayer game. They're making what seems to be a full-blown multiplayer game, so saying Dan Houser left on his own terms. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there might be nothing to it, right? Like, it might just look bad, but it's not actually bad. Yeah, he's setting up his own studio now. Yeah, that's the thing, is like this multiplayer Insomniac game, it could very well just be Spider-Man 2, where it's a co-op game. But I don't know, man. I could see Sony trying to make some type of, I don't know, like Spider-Verse game. Who knows? It's definitely, I mean, I'm not saying it's definitely not Resistance, but if you look at the job posting for Insomniac's multiplayer game, they put a heavy emphasis on melee combat. So it's like, I mean, Resistance is a shooter, so it's like you wouldn't really be posting that in your job listing, right? Which I think some people would be disappointed about. I could be wrong, though. We don't know. Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer is brilliant. It is, and I think we are going. Well, I don't know, but I'm very confident that we're going to get a standalone multiplayer, like basically MMO like Ghost of Tsushima game. I mean, why not? Why not? That would be incredible. I would be all for that. That'd be amazing. Matthew Dillon again, thank you, buddy. You're saying, also forgot to tell you that it came with the original box in perfect shape and numbers on box and PS3 match up. Everyone liked this video. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, please hit that like button for me. Can we at least get to 500 likes before the podcast ends? I would really appreciate that. Excuse me. That's great, man. I mean, that's something that, I don't know. Do you even want to open that up at that point? But yeah, take good care of it, man. For sure, take good care of it, because they're going to be more and more difficult to come by as we go further into the future. So yeah, I guess the last thing that I want to say here on the podcast, because I don't think I have much more to talk about, honestly, is like, I'm feeling the effect of Sony silence on my channel. I'm sure you guys noticed this. And I do want to take a moment to thank everybody who has even, been supporting me. I mean, I appreciate all the support I get, but definitely during a time like this when there's just not much going on, very little excitement currently. Everybody's kind of, doing their own thing. We're in the middle of summer. A lot of people are on vacation. I just want to say I really appreciate the support that, those of you still show even during a slow kind of down time like this, because it really does make all the difference. You may not know it and it may not feel like it, but it really does make a big difference. And it's literally, it's the difference maker between me being able to continue to do this versus me having to maybe walk away from it and not be able to do it nearly as much as I do. So just a big thank you. And, I know I may sound desperate and I may seem desperate when I say this, but like, I really do hope that Sony has something up their sleeve around the corner sometime soon. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen this last week of July. Something that's interesting to me is there have been like no rumors or no leaks. And it's kind of nice in a way because it's like, finally, we don't have to keep talking about rumors. But in a way, it's almost like it's strange. Like it's just like a tumbleweed, man. It's too quiet. It's not just quiet. It is literally too quiet. And so I do think that something's going to happen. I don't want to say that definitively. I don't want to get anybody's excitement up just to be let down. But, there's definitely some, the silence is deafening right now. The silence is deafening. So I want to I want to say this too real quick before I go. I feel like my hands are tied. Like, I want to talk more about what I think is going on, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to talk about it because, people get upset, and I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that there is a sleeping giant. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I have to keep emphasizing that, but I think there's a sleeping giant. I think that we have been teased. I think we've been bamboozled. I think there's some stuff going on, and I'm hoping that's the case. I guess what I'm ultimately trying to say is I hope that whatever Sony does next, whenever it happens, whether it's next month, 2 months from now, I don't care. Whenever Sony does say or do something again, whatever their next move is, I hope it's a big one. And I hope it's something that makes some waves because I feel like everybody was expecting that to happen at the beginning of this month. And instead we got, what was generally a lackluster, okay state of play. And that just, I think, left people feeling like, damn, did Sony shit the bed here? I don't think so. It seems that way to some people, but I think there's more coming. I don't say that as in I know there's more coming, but I think there is. So, yeah, I guess that's maybe where I will end the podcast. I know this sounds really maybe, I don't know, not the best way to talk about my own podcast, but I do hope that next week we have more to talk about because this week was dry, dude. I was almost considering not doing the podcast because I'm like, there's barely anything to talk about. But I was like, there are those of you who are here right now. I know you guys look forward to it each week. And at the very least, we can just kind of shoot the shit, right? And just chat and talk. And it doesn't have to be super serious. But, I hope that, we have more to talk about next week. But that's going to do it for episode 69 of, Press X podcast. Again, thank you guys so much for taking time to hang out with me. A big thank you to all of you who donated super chats, my members, anybody, any way you can help the stream out and help the channel out. Appreciate it. If you could do me a favor when this stream ends, come back, leave a comment. Leave a comment saying anything, really. The comments help the algorithm. But yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see what happens in the upcoming week. Obviously, I'll continue to crank out the content here on the channel as long as you guys are here to support it and continue watching it. I will keep it coming. And yeah, with that being said, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Sunday. I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday as well. Yeah, hit the like button if you are new to the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. But that's episode 69 in the books. We will be back here, hopefully, as long as everything goes smoothly. Same time, same place next week with episode 70. Be 70 episodes. Pretty crazy. So, all right, guys. As I always say, until next time, take care. See you guys.